and morning it is. I won't lie, it is like 6 a.m. now, it's no longer 5 a.m. But as you can probably tell from the title of this video, I am planning on filming a reading vlog in which I get up at 5 a.m. every day. And, you know, I pretty much did, you know, like I was awake by 5:05. Took me till 5:30 to get out of my actual bed. I flicked through my phone a little bit. But I'm still pretty happy with that, especially since, like, this is the first day. So yesterday I didn't necessarily get to sleep early, but why are we here and why on earth are we doing this and why am I, like, still in my pajamas filming a vlog? Because, like, just because I'm doing a reading vlog early in the morning every day this week does not mean I'm going to put myself together. We're going to get this, okay? So I have just been sort of, well, there's a few reasons. I do love the mornings, like I'm definitely a morning person, but I feel like I've lost my kind of sleeping pattern. I've kind of lost my early mornings, and I don't necessarily take advantage of my evenings just because I stay up late. I find it more frustrating and just annoying that I can't get to sleep. So I've been meaning to sort of work on my sleeping schedule in general, but obviously this is quite early. I don't necessarily think 5 a.m. is like a long-term solution or schedule for me. But one of the things I used to do when I was in secondary school or high school is that for like over a year, maybe 2 years, I used to get up at 5 a.m. every morning. Obviously I started school at like 8:30, so I was like out of the house by like 7:30 every morning. And like I said, I used to get up at 5 a.m. and it wasn't to be productive, it wasn't to do homework, it wasn't to film YouTube videos, it wasn't to do anything like that. It was literally just because A, I liked the quiet, the peace and quiet of the morning, and B, I just wanted that time to do stuff I enjoyed, and I often spent it reading. I won't lie, sometimes I sat and watched Charmed, but I really enjoyed that. Now, I am not 16, 17 anymore. I'm 29. I'm going on 30. What I was capable of when I was a teenager, it's not necessarily what I'm capable of now. I may be capable of new things. So again, this is not necessarily a long-term solution, but I was just thinking about that time and how it was so nice that I used to wake up and just enjoy that time. And I would really like to do that a little bit at the moment. So I didn't want to do a vlog where I got up at 5 a.m. every morning so I could be super productive and like do work and exercise. Although I'm up now, I may go for a run later depending on the weather, and I mean later but still before work. But I wanted to wake up early so that I could just read and like enjoy reading and enjoy the mornings. So really that's my logic. I think I thought right now was the best time to do it as well, because autumn is one of those seasons where I know a lot of people struggle with their mental health because of the change in seasons, the darkening nights. It can have an impact on your mental health. The change in weather, it's gotten much colder. I'm going to be spending a lot more time inside. And then I also struggle with autumn in general because it's when my dad passed away, and it's still only been a few years, so I do kind of struggle with autumn, and it's a time when I think I need to be really aware of my own mental health. So again, I wanted to kind of like take back a little bit of control for myself, and both like work on my sleeping routine and habits, and also just like enjoy the mornings and do some reading. So I thought I would take you along on this week where I'm going to try and get up at 5 a.m. every morning, weekday morning this week. Although I feel like it'll be a success if I manage to do it 3 days. That's kind of like what I'm hoping for myself, because it's also that time of the month is period week, so sometimes I sleep really badly because of stomach cramps, so there is a chance that I may have to sleep in some mornings. But that's kind of my plan. Like I said, it's not like a long-term plan, but I would like to try and get back into the habit of waking up at between 6 and 7 in general, which is what I used to wake up at when I was working like in an office or at the university, because I like to have a little bit of time before I had to leave. So that is what I would like to do. And for this week, I'm just going to like try and get some reading done in the mornings and take you with me. So what am I reading? Because books are why you're here. The book I am currently reading, that I just started last night actually when I was in the bath, is One for Sorrow by Sarah A. Denzil. This is a thriller novel about a psychiatric nurse working in like a high security psychiatric facility in the north of England. I'm not sure exactly where in the north of England, but it's in the north of England. And she is tasked with the care of 3 patients in particular. That's her role at this place, as well as generally contributing to the running of this hospital. And one of those patients is a young woman around 1920 who was convicted of killing another child when she was 14. So she was convicted of killing a little girl of around like 6 or 7 or something when she was 14. And our protagonist, it says in the back, starts to wonder whether she was actually framed during the narrative of this book, although I haven't really got to her wondering that yet. I have been reading, within the book there are like some articles, like online forums, you know, true crime forums, people talking about the crime and people that suspect that she was framed, but we haven't got into the point in the book where our protagonist thinks she might have been framed yet. But I am very early on in the book. I'm on page 30 and it's 300 pages, so yeah, I'm enjoying it though. I've been in a real thriller mood. Like, I've been reading thrillers like nobody's business, you know, all the time, and I've been really enjoying them. But I also thought I could take advantage of my mornings and hopefully read my book club book. So this is for the book club that I have with some friends, which is How to Kill Your Family by Bella Mackey. This is described as funny, sharp, dark and twisted by Jojo Moyes. So I don't really know what to expect from this, whether it's going to be thriller-esque, whether it's going to be more firmly contemporary. I mean, I think there's definitely some mystery / crime in here. Well, I don't know if there's mystery, but there's definitely some crime, because it's about a woman who decides that she's going to kill her family, make a claim on their fortune, and then, you know, just like move out and adopt a dog. And it sounds so like weird and satirical, and I'm so excited for it. So yeah, my book club and I are reading this, and I would like to get started on it. And I'd also like to make a dent in some of my comic book collection. So next up in my Giant Days read is volume 10. I'm almost finished this entire series. I love it so much and would like to get to the end. And then a series that I really want to start, which I was recommended by a subscriber, is Zodiac Star Force by The Power of Astra, which is a sort of like girl power superhero series. I'm not usually into superheroes, but this in particular looked really up my alley. It looks like really hopeful and cutesy. I don't know if there's any queer elements, I can't remember, but I'm excited to read it. So yeah, that's kind of like what I plan on reading in these mornings. Hopefully the lighting will improve in some of these clips, but I'm sure you understand why it's not the best. I'm sitting in the living room with just the overhead light on, and it's still pitch black outside. Like, the sun is not rising at the moment until about 8 a.m. So yeah, maybe I'll go for a run at 8 a.m. when the sun is up, because I'm not going running in the dark. But yeah, I'm trying to think when the top clocks turn back. This is irrelevant content. I'm going to get back to reading. I'm back, it's 9 o'clock and I'm in my bed. But I'm fully dressed, and sorry, I'm just opening the curtain a little bit. And I have been for a run, well, a jog / speed walk, power walk, because I don't have any language left to use. I will briefly just touch on the exercise, but you can skip over this if you want. I'm not trying to take running back up out of any desire for weight loss or actually changing my body. It's more just how it makes me feel. Regularly exercising is something I did a lot more in London, and it was really good for my mental health. It was actually pretty good for my asthma management, and it makes me feel strong. So I wanted to try and get back into it after not having ran in over a year since coming back to Edinburgh. I used to do it in London, and because I haven't done it in such a long time, I am really not a pro. Not that I was ever a pro, but I have definitely lost the stamina I used to have. So I downloaded the Couch to 5K app because my friend Lauren, who you may know as Lauren and the Books, has raved about it in the past. It's an NHS sponsored app, or sponsored NHS run app, which is a National Health Service here in the UK. I don't know if it's an app you can use outside of the UK, although I don't recall it asking for where I lived, but it may not be on app stores elsewhere, and it doesn't feel like it is in any way tailored towards weight loss, which is really good for me as somebody who has struggled with disordered eating in the past, and kind of not great mentality around stuff like that. I stopped weighing myself about 2 years ago, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm really glad I don't do that anymore. For me, it does not work. It just becomes an obsession. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I felt like it was a good little goal system that didn't feel like too much pressure or unachievable. So it worked for me anyway, so I'm really glad I downloaded that from Lauren's recommendation. In terms of what I've managed to do this morning, like I said, it's 9 o'clock. I'm about to hop in the shower and then start work. So I'm kind of really surprised by like how well this morning has gone. Like, I managed to do some reading. I went for a little bit of exercise and fresh air, and I feel good and awake. And I was not expecting to feel quite as awake and up for it this morning as I was, because it's obviously day one of 5 a.m.s. But I only read about 20 pages of my book, which I think is fine. Like, I'm not putting any specific goals on myself, but yeah, I'm on about page 40 something of this now, so that's the progress that I've made. But I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm intrigued to see, like, did the person get framed and what's surrounding that. I did, however, get a little bit distracted because the first episode of the new season of my podcast went live this morning. So if you don't know, or you did know and you've forgotten, I run a podcast called That's Ancient History, which is a podcast all about antiquity, both its history and its place in pop culture and modern society, and lots of discussions surrounding that. And it has been on hiatus for over a year since the whole, the thing that happened and is still happening. But now I have a little bit more mental headspace to get back on the podcast, and it's something I really miss doing. So yeah, episode 1 of season 5 is now live. You can go and check it out. It's my friend Jill and I, who I went to university with, attempting to answer the most popular questions from Google all about ancient Greece. And then the next episode, which will go up 2 weeks from today, which is Monday the 18th, it'll be sooner whenever you're watching this vlog, is an interview with an author who has a Greek myth retelling coming out in October. I won't say who, but you might be able to guess. It's very exciting, and it was a lot of fun to record. So yeah, that's what's coming up next, and I will have it linked in the description box down below. It's available on most podcast apps. So yeah, I spent some time this morning just making sure everything had gone well with that, and I am promoting it. So yeah, I'd like to do more reading tomorrow morning, because that I definitely think I was a little bit slower on, but I'm glad that I started the week off well and got some reading done, and now I'm going to go get some work done. But when I do read a little bit more, even if it's in the evening, I will update you, just because obviously I do want this vlog to still be a reading vlog and to review the books. So it is 8 p.m. and unsurprisingly I am very tired. And I'm gonna go and hang my washing up now that it's finished in the washing machine and get ready for bed, to be honest. I'll still probably do some more reading in my bed, but I thought, since this was the moment before, the jammies went on and the makeup came off, or what tiny bit of makeup there is on came off, I would update you on my reading, because I'm on about page 50 of this. That's really bad, Jean. One for Sorrow. And I started How to Kill Your Family, and I'm also about 50 pages into this. Hang on, let me move so I can see you better. You'll see me better. I'm going to wash my hair in the morning. Yes, I'm about 50 pages into both of these books. I'm really enjoying the plot and the mystery of this. I do have to say, it does one of my pet peeves of thriller books, which is it discusses weight a lot. Maybe not a lot, but it always just feels jarring whenever somebody's size is referenced as an indication of anything negative. I just don't find it useful or helpful to me personally. I don't like reading that in books. So that annoys me, and that is a slight pet peeve. This is not the worst culprit for it. It's just very, very subtle now and then. And it does seem to be something that's very common in thrillers. But plot-wise, character-wise, very much enjoying it. Can't wait to see where it goes. Now, I thought I was going to be in love with this book straight away, but right now I'm a little bit unsure. We have this character who you know from the beginning is in prison for having done something terrible, for having committed some murders, the details of which we don't know right away, and we are hearing her recount her story, looking back on what led her to be in prison and narrate the events that led up to it, which are, as I mentioned, a series of murders. I'm only so far into it, like I said, so I only know certain aspects of the storyline, but from the very beginning you pretty much know that she's going into this to kill her family, her blood relations. It's one of those books where, although I would never actually condone what the main character is doing, I think it's interesting to read about somebody who is doing something like they're doing and the motivation behind it, and finding out all the nuances and the layers to their character, what drove them to this point, their backstory, their history. I really, really enjoy that. But I do find her a slightly annoying character, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, but she is very, very stuck up. She's not from a wealthy background or anything like that. She's not posh or snobbish in that way, but she's just very judgmental of like everybody else, and I don't just mean the people she wants to kill, just like everybody that walks past in the street. She's just got something to say about, and she's probably just meant to be a bit of a annoying character, but I do struggle sometimes with characters like that when I have to read from their perspective, because like I can enjoy the narrative of a character who does terrible things and who I don't agree with, but it's just, there has to be something tonally, I guess, that I enjoy. And right now, I just feel like, why are you so judgmental of everybody? Like, what have you got to be judgmental about, girl? Like, it's... I feel like I want to say it's making it hard to root for her. And it should be hard to root for her anyway, because she's trying to commit these murders. But in fiction, you can sometimes root for this person that's doing something terrible because it's so ridiculous, the setup. And you can sort of root for what are morally reprehensible actions, weirdly, in certain contexts. I'm sure you know what I mean. But when she's this annoying and judgy, I find her hard to care about, perhaps, rather than root for. Care about is maybe what I'm looking for more. So yeah, at the moment, I'm still intrigued. I still find this premise very interesting. She is a wild character, and even though I find her quite irritating, she is interesting. And this one is just like a good page turner with a mystery that I am fully invested in already. So that's where we are with my reading. Like I said, I'm going to go get ready for bed and hopefully wake up again at 5 a.m. in the morning. So see you then. Good morning. It's actually 9 a.m. We had a somewhat less successful morning this morning, but I wouldn't say entirely unsuccessful. I did wake up at 5. I made myself a coffee, got my book out, but I was feeling quite sore from yesterday. As I mentioned before, I am not at my fittest, so I was thinking, I'll just sit in my bed and read my book and drink my coffee, because I enjoy doing that in the evening. Well, not drinking coffee, but, you know, a cup of tea and a book in bed. And naturally around like 6, I fell back asleep. So like between like 6 and 7, I got like another hour of sleep, which is really not that bad. I still did some reading this morning. I still woke up early, and even though I had that another hour sleep, I still got up earlier than I have been doing, because I've been getting up more like 8 or 9, which for me like makes me feel quite sluggish in the morning. So I am not annoyed at myself in the slightest, but yeah, it's interesting because I thought the first day would be the hardest, but apparently today was harder. But I did still do some more reading. I am about 90 pages into How to Kill Your Family, and I find the protagonist's condescending narration style and attitude to others around her very annoying. She is somewhat insufferable to me as a character, which is fine. Like, characters don't have to be likeable, but I feel like as a book as a whole, it's not necessarily adding to my enjoyment, whereas sometimes unlikable characters can add to your enjoyment. And this one, she's just annoying. That's like the specific way it's done, do you know what I mean? But I'm still intrigued enough by the plot and where things are going to go that I'm going to carry on reading it, and it is also my book club read, so I want to talk about it in more detail with the people in my book club. I know someone has already finished it and really enjoyed it, and I know somebody else is currently reading it and has similar feelings to me, and then I have no idea what anybody else thinks. So yeah, it'll be a fun one to discuss, and maybe I'll change my mind. I'm still, just under a third of the way through, so I've got a lot more to go. And I'm about 80 pages into my thriller novel, which I'm just enjoying. Like, it's just a classic page turner of a thriller, and I am growing suspicions about different things, and I want to see how it all pans out. So that one I'm about a third of the way through now. So I'm definitely going to be reading more of that this evening and making some headway. But for now, I'm going to film a video. I'm going to be filming my top 10 favourite adult fantasy books, which should be up before this video. So if you're seeing this and didn't see that, go and check it out. It will probably be the most recent video on my channel. I have been more recently polling for the videos I do on my channel on Twitter, so I've been putting up 4 videos that I'm currently sort of prepared to film, like have all the stuff ready and the planning done, and asking you what you'd like to see next, and then using that to pick what I film next. And it's been fun to just sort of feel like I am delivering what people want to see the most, but still within obviously the realms of stuff I want to make, but then things like this vlog are a bit more like off the cuff and a bit more different. So yeah, if you're also interested in voting on future videos, you can follow me on Twitter, but I better go and film it. I give up. Not on the 5 AMs, but this book, I just don't think it's for me. I thought I was going to love it, genuinely. Like, I had such high hopes for this book, but I've just got no interest. And I've passed halfway now, or around halfway. I've passed the 150 page mark, so I'm around halfway through. I've given it like a decent shot. I really like the premise. I think it's a really creative idea, but for a book that's all about a woman going around murdering her family to get the inheritance, you'd feel it would be a bit more thrilling, exciting, suspenseful, dramatic, and it just doesn't feel like that. I just find it like a really condescending stream of consciousness. That's what it feels like. And I know there's probably a lot of intentional stuff with that, like a lot of probably with the mindset of like pointing out her hypocrisy of judging everybody else while she's saying that like she's been judged or whatever. And yeah, like, it's not badly written, but like I just like don't like the narrative style, and I'm not finding the story compelling anymore. Like, at first it was interesting, and now it's just like petered off because it doesn't feel like it's I don't know, it just doesn't feel very exciting for what I would have expected a book with this plot to be. So it may be my book club book, and that was one of the reasons I really wanted to give it a chance, but I also am very much of the mindset these days that like there are so many other things I could be reading, there's so many other things I could be doing, that I don't want to spend my time on things that I'm not enjoying in any particular way, especially if I've tried and persevered to see if I will change my mind. So it would still, be a few more hours of my life to finish this, and I'd rather be reading my other book or something else. And that doesn't mean it's not for other people. I think this could be like a real Marmite. Like, I think some people will love it and some people will feel like me too. It's actually stunning. It's like making the plants leave like a shadow on my face. Like I said, my friend, one of my book club friends really enjoyed it. She sped through it, loved it. But then another friend feels similarly to me, although I think she's going to persevere because she's not really a person who gives up on books. I don't know. But for me, it's just not working. So like, judge yourself, I'd say. Maybe read some of the reviews and compare it to sort of what you usually read, but don't really expect a thriller or anything with much like drama. For like a book about a murderer, it just feels like it should be a little bit more exciting. I don't know. It's just not for me. It's an interesting idea. It's an interesting take. It's not badly written, but it is really not the book for me. So you know what? I'm letting it go, and I'm going to carry on with my other book. Hey, it's been a while. Well, it's not been that long, but I did not obviously verbally update you in any sense of the imagination yesterday. But I did actually get up at 5 a.m. yesterday. I just was really struggling with PMS and period symptoms. I was just feeling really crap. Have done kind of today as well. Like, it's just kind of been a crappy 2 days, thanks to ye old flu. And I just didn't want to talk to a camera. Didn't have anything to say. Didn't have any conversation within me. But I carried on reading my book, as you'll have seen in some of the vlog clips, and I finished it today. So I did want to update you on that. In terms of waking up though, if that's something you're interested in this video, I mean, I feel like this is half and half a discussion of getting up early and reading books. So yeah, in terms of getting up this morning, I didn't get up at 5, but that is because my boyfriend was staying the night last night and he wasn't feeling great, so didn't want to get up at 5, which, like, fair enough. So we just got up at 8 instead, and that is like completely a-okay. Like, I'm trying to, like, you know, sort of reclaim my mornings and find a routine, but I am still adaptable, and that's important. So yeah, I do plan, however, on getting up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. And then I do actually, even though it's a Saturday, have to get up quite early on Saturday, maybe at like 6 or 7, just because of things that need doing on Saturday. So I may lie in on Sunday, which will be nice, but I've been really enjoying getting up early. And this morning I did find that even though we weren't intentionally getting up early, I did wake up very alert and very refreshed and very ready for the morning. I didn't feel groggy or anything, I think because I was used to being up so early, and it wasn't as early when I got up today. In terms of my book, I enjoyed this. It's just like a very like good page turner thriller. Like, it's what you want from this kind of book. It is very dark though, and it gets just increasingly darker as it goes on, and deals a lot with trauma and mental health, but I think in a good way, because it's one of those books that, although yes, we are dealing with people who have committed crimes that are in a hospital for their crimes, and their crimes are somehow linked in some ways to their illnesses. I feel like I'm not making sense. They're not the only people that are dealing with mental health and mental illness and struggling. Like, our protagonist also has trauma she's dealing with, and also has a past, and also has things that are getting to her, and she is all very, very, very respectful of all of the mental illness that she does encounter on a daily basis. So I did appreciate that, because I think it's very easy for thrillers that deal with mental illness to go in the wrong direction. But yes, it is very dark, but I did enjoy it. So that's my thoughts on that one. It's also the first in a trilogy, so the answers you get in this book do tie up kind of the questions you've had throughout the book, but it definitely sets up for a follow-up book. So I am curious about the main character and her family and what's going to happen in their lives more generally in book 2, and I will eventually pick that up as well. So that's my thoughts there. I've also started reading a book on my Kindle. Imagine if I was prepared and had it to hand to show you, which I was just really feeling in the mood for, and it's called Girl of Bone and Ivy, which is by 2 authors. It's a joint venture, and it's a fantasy romance, and it's exactly what I was in the mood for. Like, I don't know why, but just past few days I'm just like, I just want like a fantasy romance with a bit of drama, sure, and I do think that this one also maybe deals with some more serious topics, but it immediately pulled me in. I started it last night, and I'm already like 10% of the way in, and I think it's over 400 pages. So I just sort of like really sped through that first chunk immediately. I was like, oh yes, like very into this, very much like the writing style. So I'm excited to see where it goes. It's about a young woman who lives in New York, who's by the way, which I really enjoy, some bi rep, who ends up being transported to the Fae realm, where it's all dangerous, and she has to face up to some secrets about herself that she didn't realise. Yeah, so I'm excited to see where that goes, and I'll probably continue reading that tonight and then during my early morning tomorrow, so I will update you further on it. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I hope you're enjoying this very random, messy vlog. Hi, Mr. Pheasant. Bye, Mr. Pheasant. Go running outside, they said. But did they consider this is Scotland? And it rains. Well, you know, it's been a new adventure running in the rain. But it definitely got to my lungs a little bit more because it's much, much colder. And I did wonder, this is a really random question for a reading vlog, but if any of you run outside or exercise outside, can you recommend any brands that do like high neck tops? Because like I said before, most of my exercise experience involves being inside a gym. I'm not much of like an outside runner, so I've never bought a high neck thing before. This is like for outdoors and it is nice and warm, it's keeping me warm, but this part of me is not happy, so yeah. Just wondering, but I'm gonna go home now, have a little bit of a cool down walk, and I'll talk to you more about my reading when I get there. I don't know about you, but this mask that I got in TK Maxx is giving me disco serial killer. Like, yeah, I see it. Well, hey there to what I believe is going to be the final update of this vlog, because it is the final weekday. It's Friday. I got up at 6 a.m. this morning, so I don't know if it's just because obviously I didn't wake up as early on Thursday, but I definitely found it a little bit harder to get up this morning, but by 6 it was okay. So I got up at 6, which I'm still super happy about, and I managed to do my second run of the week. I mentioned before that I was trying out the NHS something to 5k app. I've already forgotten what it's called, which recommends 3 runs on their app a week, so I might try and do one on Sunday as well, but that's kind of what I've managed to accomplish, and I'm really pleased with myself. Really pleased with myself and how I've been getting up. I think it's like a good sort of starting point for me to like work forward and figure out what works best for me in my like mental health and my productivity and my just enjoyment of life. I have been getting to do some reading in the morning, which is obviously really, really nice. This morning I did read a little bit on my Kindle before I went out for my run. With my coffee, of the fantasy book I mentioned that I started, which was called Girl of Bone and Ivy, and I'm still really enjoying that. I'm now about 25% of the way in, and I had these suspicions surrounding aspects of the storyline and the characters which have been proved correct, and who does not like to be proved correct? So I'm very much enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the twists and turns, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going to go. Just like really speeding through it, I feel I find it like a very fast, compulsive read that keeps you engaged, and when I am finished that, I will hopefully talk about it in another video. But that's kind of what I've done. Obviously, I read half of a book which I DNF'd, but you know, I gave it a good chance. I read an entire thriller book, and I'm now a quarter of the way into a fantasy book. So, like, I'm really happy with that, because I also feel like I haven't been reading as much recently. So obviously waking up has given me the time to do that, and it's been fun vlogging it. I know it's a bit of a random all over the place vlog, but then all my vlogs are, let's be honest, like they're not very aesthetic because life's just not that aesthetic, and to be honest, these vlogs are probably more aesthetic than even my life is. But yeah, I'm not gonna probably do any reading this evening because it's board game night, so I'm gonna be doing board games with my partner and some of our friends. So yeah, it's going to be a social evening rather than a reading evening, and I am looking forward to the weekend. So thought I would just end things here. Thank you for following along with me, and I will see you all in the next one.